Welcome back, everyone. Katowice, so let's make some noise. You guys got a little quiet. There we go. That's the Katowice I know. When we come back to the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship, we are about to go into the second game in the semifinal, but I noticed my blunder because I called it the question desk, but now I'm here with an answer, so we're gonna have to fix that title. But the answer to the poll we had, will Jin be banned? A lot of you thought yes, but not quite convincingly, so we'll have to wait and see. Maybe some of you will be right. And now, while I seem to have all the answers, I don't want to take the fun away from Monty because he loves those picks and bans, so let's go back to the expert desk.
Thank you very much, Charbra. Welcome back to the Expert Desk and the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. We're about to jump into Game 2, where Fnatic are currently 1-0 up against Royal Never Give Up.
But they're never going to give up, Trevor.
No, they will not, but I agree, hashtag Spirit is a god. He's really showing up this series, and I want to see if he can do it again. Pick some bans. What do you think, though?
I'm just worried Spirit's going to disappoint the fans by not giving them a full 3-game set. I mean, he's running a little bit of risk here, but we'll see. There's still, still another game. We don't know if RNG is going to be able to kind of figure something out, if that was just kind of a fluke. We'll see.
Yeah, I guess we will. Picks and bans will be jumping underway in a second.
Wow.
Let's kick this one off. Lissandra and Corky have been taken away by Fnatic, who are now on the blue side. And Monty, you're going to be so happy. Jin has been banned.
Thank you.
I'm not happy. I like watching Jin.
Hey, I like watching him too, but for a competitive series, I think you just have to take it out of the pool right now. And the Corky, that's what I thought Fnatic was going to ban actually in game number 1. We didn't see it there. Now it's going to make its appearance, and the Zed will be banned out also. Lulu's still up. Lulu will be taken immediately by Fnatic. But the Kallista's now banned out here, of course, by Fnatic. I'm actually surprised they banned out the Jin when the Kallista was also banned, but there you go.
Do you think there's a chance that we could see Fnatic going for something like a Juggernaut composition? That we could see Reckless grab the Kog'Maw, they could try to protect that?
Possibly. It's also the Lucian could be a major pick here, as we see the Lulu-Lucian combination used quite a bit.
Yeah.
Certainly Kog'Maw is a champion we've seen from TSM, but no one else so far this tournament.
Now, Nautilus still has been untouched in this pick ban. It's an opportunity for RNG to grab that right now.
I like that idea. Also, as a note, the one time that Feblevin's played Lulu this year, it was comboed with a Reckless Kallista, and they had a very good performance, but obviously Kallista is banned out, so we'll see what they're going to decide to combo with in this pick and ban.
Well, Gragas, and there's the Kog'Maw.
Wow,
He's gonna
Kog'Maw
grab that right away.
Really early.
Yeah. Without the Lulu to protect it, too.
Well, this is dangerous because they like to play Nautilus. Nautilus has that point-and-click ultimate that you can get back onto a Kog'Maw with. They take away the Gragas, which is great because that's one of the most disruptive champions against Kog. But also, the Trundle's still available here, and I don't know if Cly will be able to do well as he has on Thresh and Alistar against, or with the Trundle. But the Trundle is so disruptive on Kog'Maw because he needs to stand still to auto-attack. And if he's doing that, there's a Trundle just pushing him out of the way with the pillar, and then he's got this Nautilus just getting back into the back line, using that depth charge on him. He's basically not going to have any uptime on his auto attacks.
Yeah, I think Trundle is really effective against Kog'Maw, but the question is, can Cly play it? There's the Braum. I guess that might answer our question. If that gets locked in, it looks like it will. Yep, so Nautilus,
I also like
they still got the Nautilus.
I like the Braum to deny the protection for Kog'Maw as well.
Yeah, and also it can block a lot of those Kog'Maw auto attacks coming in with the Unbreakable. So yeah, there are reasons to like the Braum here as long as they have sufficient backline threat. If you just have the Braum and you don't have anything to stop him from auto attacking, congratulations, you've blocked a bit of damage, but ultimately you're still going to get poked out.
Yeah, you need to get on the Kog'Maw somehow. But the question is for RNG, how are they going to protect this Kog'Maw? Alistar could certainly help. Mata definitely not too bad of an Alistar player. Oh, I like the Bard too.
I get so worried when I see poke compositions with Bard as the support, because does it work? Yes, it can work, but it is really difficult to pull off because if you mess up with the Bard ult or with one Cosmic Binding, your AD carry can die.
I mean, you hear the term glass cannon a lot, right, across many video games and many things, and that's really what that is if you have Bard as your quote-unquote protection, So it's going to be Alistar, Ezreal, a little bit more reasonable, but Ezreal, interesting. We don't see a ton of mid-lane Ezreal these days.
No, and that is a bit curious, but I guess Xiaohu really wants to take that pick. They are going to take the Alistar. So they
technically one game played for the record. Xiaohu.
Yeah, it is
8-0-6. Good performance. I don't know which patch that was on, but I have the stats.
I can think of one patch that definitely might have been on. So I don't think it's going to be Twitch for Fnatic. Not quite yet. Needs some buffs.
You never know at this stage.
That is true.
I mean, Reckless played Jhin, pulled it out of nowhere, surprised everybody in Europe. I think it's going to be a Lucian. Lucian Lulu is such a good combo.
It would be the most logical pick. Yeah.
Fnatic has very low damage, though, and I think that's my primary concern with them, is that they are super reliant on Reckless's performance. They have a Lulu in the mid lane where if Lulu goes even, she's not going to be doing a lot of damage in the mid and late game. Of course, the damage from Lee Sin will fall off, even if his utility and his ability to play around these two AD carries, get some nice kicks off. Spirit was obviously great at doing that yesterday. But man, Reckless is going to have to go huge here.
It might be a top lane Trundle for Looper. Wouldn't be too bad. But yeah, one does worry about the damage coming out of the Fnatic team as the game goes on. Thinking about changing over to that Poppy. It'd be another good way to kind of keep people away from the Kog'Maw, I suppose.
I think you take the Trundle here. Just play it into the Nautilus and the top lane. Make sure that you are going to be able to win that split pushing battle and play a 4-1 split composition with your two AD carries and the fact that you have Gragas and this Alistar for frontline disengage. It just gives you more options. With the Poppy, you're not going to have that same pressure in the top side. Certainly you bring in disengage, but you'd have that anyway from the Trundle pillar. So I think the Trundle just a little bit better here. The Poppy will work, but not as versatile.
5-1 is Looper's record on Poppy.
Yep.
Pretty good history. We're about 30 seconds away before we head to Casters. This is where Doa and I peace out, gang up on you, Monty.
Be prepared to be judged harshly.
You were right. Doa called it for game one. He said Fnatic.
Did I? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll take it.
Doa, Monty.
I think Royal's going to take this game. Just judging from the draft, yes, they have the Lee Sin. They've got the depth charts to try and deal with the Kog'Maw, but they don't have an answer for both the Kog'Maw and the Ezreal. Certainly there's a lot of physical damage here, which will be great for the Nautilus, but I don't like the fact that Fnatic really tunneled on the one threat. If there had been something like a Fiora in the top lane, I would have liked it a lot more from Fnatic, and I don't think the Trundle for the Poppy is enough to really sway it in my favor, in the favor of Fnatic.
Well, we'll see, man. I mean, Fnatic, they found the picks last game. They might be able to find him in the early game, too. And if they do, they can maybe get that Lulu to do enough damage to counter the Ezreal Kog'Maw in the late game. But yeah, it's a tall order.
It really is. We'll see whether or not Monty's 2 for 2. Before we do, let's head over to the caster desk as they take us into game.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I did say I liked the cut of Fnatic's jib, but the question remains, will it still be smooth sailing through to the grand final here at the IEM World Championships? Gentlemen, we saw the draft again. Some questions raised from you, Crepo, especially. You were very vocal seeing how some of that draft played out. Some initial thoughts, maybe before we jump into this?
I mean, starting at the beginning, which is usually where you start. I think RNG wasn't really planning on playing Kog'Maw, but then two AD carries banned out. Lulu first pick. They knew they would lose the game if they play against Lulu Kog. As we get some TT tours right here.
Yeah, this is definitely not a standard RNG composition. I am very concerned about their scaling.
I disagree a little bit with
being
Monty,
too much scaling. 2 seconds, you can get down. Well,
I'm sorry, I'm just excited.
You disagree with Monty. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
All right, I think when you run Ezreal mid lane, he's a fairly slow scaling mid lane. I actually think Ezreal mid lane is absolute trash, but he has no pressure in lane, personally. He takes a long time to scale. Your AD carry takes a long time to scale. Your Poppy doesn't have any pressure against the Nautilus either. You should have gone Trundle, in my opinion. So you have a super late game focused RNG comp, but they are a team who doesn't do well when they are playing from behind. So I'm very concerned for RNG with what they've been drafting here.
I mean, we saw back on 6.2, Faker would actually play a bit of Ezreal mid, and he was often using True Shot Barrage purely for that lane manipulation. So.
Yeah, just want to go back. I do think that Fnatic actually have overall the better draft. Yes, Lucian is like the one threat, but I think Lulu early game actually has one of the strongest laning phases of any mid laner right now. And Nautilus has a you got to judge it in push. You know who wins the battle here. So that's why I think this lane swap to slow down the game is actually really important from RNG. Standard lanes would have spelled their immediate demise because Nautilus will have the push advantage, mid will have the push advantage, Braum Lucian will have the push advantage. Triple push with at least in your jungle would have been game over. So I really like that RNG went for this lane swap.
It's super important, the lane swap. We just got to see if they are reading the plays from before, because again, when you're the team who's swapping to top side, you lose the chance to make that Rift Herald play. Fnatic will take bot tower, swap top, take another tier 1, take Rift Herald, and then make the same play on the bottom tier 2 tower. That's what we got to see if RNG can react this time.
And one might recall, of course, from that first game when it all started to go wrong for RNG. Down that bot side, of course, their bot in a turret. That is how far Fnatic could push forward. The lane swap worked for them. They had the tempo, and they just snowballed it from there. See this lane swap now as it does play out, guys. I mean, any immediate concerns for you here in terms of how these teams are playing it out?
I mean, right now it's very standard. Both teams, or one team actually fast pushed in, that's Fnatic. The other team is just last hitting minions and building up a big wave with cannon. That's RNG on top side. But they are being joined now by Looper. They will, again, be behind. So what you would normally want to do now is call in your jungler. If you're RNG and say, we need you because we're behind in the push. Jungler, come in, don't do your camp, but we 4-man push tower instead of 3-man push as we normally see. But they're not doing it. He's actually setting up a gank in mid to try and surprise Febrin. This is not standard. That's why Febrin might be caught out.
Oh, I don't know what about the Chinese lane swap so far has been standard, and Forbidden will just have to... Well, there's no way to really be aware. It's a flash and a belly slam as well. Forbidden able to back away as well. Good movement there as well. He might be able to get out. Xiaohu going quite low here. The ignite ticks down. He's going to be all right. Spirit, great timing to get there.
Yeah, impressive reaction there from Fevin, though. He gets caught out immediately, but it flashes to the right, so the barrel predict there from MLXG, it's a really hard name to say, goes wide, and then Spirit comes in to help him out there. So that could have been wrong, or could have gone very, very wrong for Fnatic, but in the end, it's just flash force.
I really like that adaptation, though, from RNG. Because you don't see that jungle gank in mid lane anymore in these swaps. He's always busy taking away your walls at this point, or your Gromp, while the rest of the team is pushing top tower, and then he shows up mid with the flash body slam. So really like the adaptation. Spirit had the same plan, though, which is why he was around mid lane and couldn't actually go in and assist, or maybe he was just doing, no, because he's doing Rift Scuttler now. So he was also hovering around mid.
We've seen that a couple of times this tournament, though, so far. So it feels like maybe teams are reintroducing that concept in scrims, when obviously they will play a lot of these lane swaps over and over and over again to break kind of the mold, introducing a cheeky little gank here and there.
And I like it if you trade flashes, or maybe you even get your mid laner a pure advantage by getting him a kill over you taking an extra camp. I think it's actually very smart. So good adaptation. Fibrin has no flash and he's again pushing up the lane. Looper is showing up.
Forbidden again. Maybe threatened in just a moment. Looper waiting for his chance. He's going to come forward here. Forbidden trying to speed himself up there. The hammer is going to come down, and he's taken a heck of a lot of damage. A shield for Forbidden, a short lane, and a safe champion like Lulu is going to guarantee him safety.
These ganks do come at the cost of some tempo, though. Obviously slow you down. Or the top laner could be pathing to the bottom lane. It's somewhat efficient here for Looper, though. Just takes a quick stop in the mid lane, pit stop, refuel, then go down to the bottom lane.
Basically just skipped his first back by just running straight from top and down. So he's still going to be able to just bounce his wave. He's not looking to fight anyone, and he's still going to be able to go back and spend all his goals. So again, RNG with some fancy moves early on, putting a lot of pressure on this mid lane, trying to make sure this Ezreal can get ahead, because if you get Ezreal going, then he can get to his 2-item spike quicker, and then he will start having an impact. The problem is when he has to stand at farm lane, then it takes a lot of time for both him, your AD carry in this game, and also even the Poppy to really be a threat. It can take too long for RNG. And Fnatic setting up for another Rift Herald play, as we saw in the last game.
It's all based on where they started off in this lane swap here. We do see RNG grouped up towards the mid. They've got a few there. They may just want to pressure down that lane, as Fnatic should have this one uncontested. That being said, a couple pings down in this direction. RNG actually encroaching a little bit here. It's unlikely to want anything more than clearing.
But Fnatic on the same page. Look where Fairbairn was hovering. He was hovering at his own blue buff because he knows he can't go up here into the choke because he will get cut out. But he was ready to help his team in case RNG took the fight at Herald, and he sacrifices some farm for it. So Fnatic, they have a goal in mind at every stage of the game so far. Let's see if they can use this Rift Herald or whether RNG has learned from the last game.
Well, RNG is already adapting here because they're already on top side with both jungle and support. Last game, Mata was top side while MLXG were randomly on the bottom side after the Rift Herald. That's why they couldn't mirror. You see the wave coming now with Wush here, and he has support. MLXG, in my opinion, should not start recalling here. He should actually stay and push it down, because now Fnatic is going to take that bot lane wave. And if he's to go back alone, okay, he did cancel, so I like that. Correct play by him. Trade tier 2 tower for tier 2 tower.
And again, it is very much back and forth. Even flow for these two teams, and we did see Gamsu just walk away from that top tower with resignation. That's why there's 3 RNG players now here.
A little bit of difference, though, is that the side stone is already finished on Kai, which means that while Fnatic take control of the deep enemy blue jungle right now, they can litter it with wards. you know, and then back out. So when the lanes do reswap later on, unless they go for an inhib tower push here,
I mean, they
Fnatic
might,
will have a vision advantage.
because they're already here with 4 members, and Looper is kind of saying do nothing. Now, actually, you can't really go for inhib because you have to kill the tower 100%. If you just get it down to like 10%, it does nothing because you're just going to get all the
Regen.
HP back.
It's better to fall back into Dragon for the secure play. You could opt for it, but I think Fnatic would only make that teleport, that play if they had a teleport on Febiven.
Or if they were like super far ahead on the push, but you can see RNG adapting between the games, saying, okay, you take Rift Herald, fine. We go top side and we just trade tower for tower. You still lose Dragon. That is the disadvantage for RNG, but at least they stay even in gold.
Yeah, Fnatic moved Febiven to pick up the remains of that wave in the top lane, wasn't bounced at all, and then Fnatic will send somebody who finishes his Dragon back to the mid lane, maybe Reckless with the enhanced recall, but Fnatic in this lane swap are weaving in objectives in between these towers. So they get a Rift Herald to boot, they get a Dragon extra, RNG get a little bit of extra farm, but the gold value in these objectives is making it so that Fnatic come out a little bit ahead, I feel.
Yeah, you did see, even with the Rift Herald, Fnatic did push down RNG's inner turret in the bottom lane about the same time as RNG did the same. But now Xiaohu might be collapsed on in towards mid here. Spirit, all he needs to do is land that Cupid. Marta gets in there as well. The ground pound Spirit is going to get shielded. Will he be able to back away? No! First blood is going to go over towards MLXG, and it looks like RNG want to continue to chase, but Kai is there. Winter's bite, and looks like he's got the bark to match it.
Yeah, and this is big for Royal Never Give Up, because we have to go back to the beginning. What do they want to do? They want to scale. They want to avoid 2v2 and 1v1 lanes, and they want the lane swap. And right now they predict Fnatic's move and catch out Spirit. Puts them ahead in the early to mid game with a better scaling composition. So our expectation is that Fnatic would snowball, you know, use those lane victories to get deep pressure with Spirit, completely get negated right now, because RNG is just simply playing a little better.
And so much going back to them staying even in gold after the swap here. And them getting the swap in the first place when you had weaker lanes. So good start by RNG. Definitely. Now we got to see if Fnatic can match them when they're even in gold. That was the big thing, because last game they were like 5,000 gold ahead once we actually got to team fights. Not going to be the same in this game, and RNG obviously has a strong team fighting comp once they get some scaling.
Well, Fnatic now. We kind of need to dispense with all our thoughts coming into this one. RNG are actually going to have a lead at 10 minutes, which is quite a rare thing for them, just stylistically. But it's interesting to see these two regions clash in their styles. A very different opening to this game, Crepo, than we saw in the
Spirit
first.
might get caught again.
And it does look like he might be in trouble. You see Cly off towards the side there, and Looper doesn't fancy taking his chances. Fnatic now have to be careful. RNG looks like they're ready to skirmish.
Yeah, they're just defending their jungle interests, not letting Spirit in. And they're in a big power trough right now. If you look at the scaling, they have a tier stacking up with a Sheen on Ezreal, so he's very squishy. They're waiting for that 1,065 or 1,085 gold that the Rage Blade upgrade is. So they're waiting for a lot of gold to come in. So they're very weak right now, but they're doing a fantastic job hanging in there.
Oh, RNG is selling their top laner right now because they didn't actually push out the top wave. He has to go and take it himself. And now Fnatic also pushing mid. Good block by Cly. That's a mid
Very
tower.
nice.
And now again, look at Poppy in this game. 28 CS. She only got to push out the bottom lane. And now this top wave is going to push towards Fnatic. So she can't actually go there because she would overextend and die to a gank. So Looper is in a position where his team is saying, oh, well, we didn't really want to push it all the way out with our AD carry. We value trying to move mid and set up another potential fight. And that now sets Looper really far behind because you need your AD carry to push out the bot wave. Looper has to go up here. You can see Reckless is going to meet him.
If we had the plays.tv app, we could actually scroll back a couple seconds into the past.
Is that the one on the Google Chrome store?
Yeah, I think it is.
Nice.
I think Looper, he ran top, halfway in the lane, ran back to mid, ran back to top, and now is moving away again. He's only been walking for the majority of the last 2 minutes.
Little mistake here, not a mistake, but a different decision from Fnatic because they want Rift Herald. Normally, you would have put your Nautilus on top side here to take that big wave that was pushing down towards him, and you would just deny as much CS as possible from Poppy. But Reckless actually pushed it out because he wants to take Rift Herald. That means on bottom side, it's Nautilus on his own, pushing out as well. And this will give a bit of farm for the Poppy. So instead of completely denying her, Fnatic said we want to push it out so we can take Rift Herald, but RNG are ready and stops it. So now Looper gets a little bit at least.
Fnatic are weaving those objectives in, and it is tempo deficits they are bringing themselves. Whoosh now towards the bottom side, and Gamsu is going to have to back away. Of course, that fallen tower was the result of the last Rift Herald Fnatic took, and you can see what they're trying to do with those here. Putting high priority on controlling this area. Again, Spirit seems to have gone back towards that Rift Herald. Forbidden Reckless, all of the gang are there to try and take this one away.
Yeah, RNG doesn't want to fight this one because there's a TP for Nautilus, and obviously Whoosh does not have a TP. They might go for it anyway.
May indeed try and fight that. True Shot Barrage is down for Xiaohu, but it might not really matter at this stage. Marta comes forward. Reckless gets pinned to the wall. He's still alive for now. It's a giant growth on him as Klai is in the mix, taking a lot of damage. Xiaohu out towards the back, but Gamsu, right time, right place. He's surrounded now by RNG as Fnatic aren't in a position to follow up. He must stay alive, but Lupa gonna charge forward, look to get the finish. Marta, a great knock up as well. Damage coming in from Living Artillery. Whoosh, flashing forward. He's getting scary. The Cogmore already. Just the one kill for RNG, but they'll be happy with that, no doubt.
Gamsu decided to walk all the way from the bottom lane. He should have just stayed bot lane, forced Whoosh to stay as well, and then Fnatic could take Rift Herald if RNG wanted to fight. TP in with the Nautilus. There's even a ward behind the Rift Herald pit here, behind the Baron pit. You could have TP'd on and that would have been a 4v5, but look on your minimap. He's walking the entire way over together with the enemy AD carry.
At this point, it's better for him to just go on the Kog'Maw and peel and let Fnatic win the 4v4. In this fight, we see the power of Braum though. A lot of damage denial here, but the problem is Reckless is out of mana right now, so at this point, Gamsu is stuck peeling when there's no return damage from the 4-man squad, so this is a little bit of miscommunication and just a misread of the team fight. Fnatic also re-entering this fight at this point is straight up suicide. Good aggressive flash from Whoosh there, and honestly, RNG come out better of that fight.
Yeah, RNG has shown that they heavily value fighting over pushing lanes out and kind of setting up lane assignments and giving resources to both top lane and AD carry. And Fnatic, by taking that Rift Herald and actually pushing that top lane at first, they opt into the fight instead of just playing side lanes. You could have just waited for that wave to push down, give it over to Nautilus. Poppy would still be sitting on like, what, 30 CS? And then Reckless would go bot lane and push that out with Klai and Spirit as backup. Instead, they put so much value on pushing out lane, take Rift Herald, and it's given RNG another kill and just stole a blue buff, I believe.
No, Forbidden did get that one, yeah. I mean, important to note, we saw the deficit that Lupa had in CS between him and Gamsu. Now look at it, he's actually in the lead. He was down by about 25 odd. And that just goes to show now how important it is to get towards that lane as it's stacked up and just get some gold in your pocket.
And also just Gamsu wanting to walk from bot lane to the fight instead of just pushing it out one more wave. And then either you just start hitting or push it all the way out and try and deny CS, or at least you force the AD carry to stay and then you TP in. Dragon fight will not happen. 2 members are back in base from RNG.
Yeah, Fnatic are going for something that teams do when they have a very early game oriented composition with lack of damage in the late game. It is the 5 dragon win condition. In this lane swap, you do have access to a very early uncontested dragon. With the comp advantage, you generally have access to a second and third dragon pretty much uncontested, and then you can use that to put pressure on RNG, maybe force a bad fight from them, where you then can set up the flank from Gamsu with the teleport, or Spirit coming from the side.
TP behind them now, another fight coming.
It's Lupa who's going to be joining the party, but will the follow-up be there? Klai is trying to stop him, but look, that caught Reckless. He's knocked up and bird asunder, essentially. We do see the True Shot Barrage come through, but Reckless was already dead to have seen that one. Klai slowed up there as well. Iceborne Gauntlet doing the work. That's a brilliant barrel coming out of MLXG, and still Fnatic able to limp away the loss to great little dread slide though. Xiaohu, he goes down. Buffs go to Gamsu, and Fnatic gets something back.
Still, RNG are controlling these fights here. Great teleport from Lupa, and then Reckless being caught out, just flash charge onto him instantly, and it's RNG constantly setting up fight after fight after fight. And now we get one of these games where everyone is just fighting each other.
Yeah, recalls, 3 recalls cancelled here. I want to go back to and look at that fight because I think Klai did some major misplays in his peeling for Reckless there. Both his spells missed Q and R, and Reckless went down. Exhaust was available to my knowledge as well, so Klai completely caught off guard there. They saw the teleport coming. Maybe the
Pushing
nerves
mid-tower.
getting to the rookie. Yeah, the push here is facilitated because obviously this cancel came out from Gamsu, so later to base, getting some damage shipped away here. No Braum to block though. There he is.
Such a pain that Unbreakable True Shot Barrage not able to cut those waves down. Fnatic get another turret.
Yeah, and it all comes from Gamsu, really. He really set up this play. Got the one snipe to break the siege here from RNG. We'll get to that later. Let's see. Teleport comes in. Fnatic knows this. They ping. They know. So here we go for Klai.
Oh, yeah.
That's just a misplay.
Pretty cut and dry, gentlemen, I think. As now Spirit.
More action.
All right, Marty getting a bit Marty here. Going to go to Bully Spirit. He does get the knock up as well. Spirit going to get caught. He's forced his ultimate
there.
Completely caught out. But we've seen this tendency from Spirit. When he tries too hard or striving to put Fnatic in pole position, he does get caught out.
Opens up for a mid-tower push from RNG. They didn't even have to use a whole lot here. Ulti still available for Gragas and Alistar. randomly speared in the enemy jungle. Everyone else from Fnatic had already recalled, and now Reckless has to be careful.
I think
RNG can dive this one.
I think it was angry. Reckless was taking his red buff. He's like, I want a buff too. Let's check if the enemy blue buff is up.
Oh, RNG's gonna dive. Fnatic are jumping right into it.
Looper going forward. Reckless has got nowhere to go. Tower hits are coming down, but Reckless is taking more. He will finally drop. Looper picks that one up, and now Cly has the flash away, but Whoosh is there. He's got to go down. Double kill for the Poppy, in fact, as Forviven wants to join, but he's instantly exhausted. Xiao, who was traded in, Forviven able to get that one, and now Gamsey coming forward, gets the root of mana under the turret. Double kill for Forviven. He's getting some gold in his pocket now. Fnatic have turned it around, and Looper has got a fall as well. Oh my lord, the triple for Forviven, and Fnatic have turned that one around. Brilliant stuff.
Gamsu is an absolute monster this game. Fantastic performance, sniping with the hooks, and then he gets out of that team fight with maybe like, what, 50 health points? Spirit, face checking here.
Not today, my friend.
Still though, Fnatic putting themselves in a very risky situation because you know this dive is happening. You can surrender this tower if it is, or at least wait for minions to die. But let's see. Reckless, again, he's the man to engage on. He goes down, he actually does survive a little bit. Gamsu is now fighting between two towers as a Nautilus with so much CC. And we're waiting for basically the minion wave to die at this tier 1 tower. That's what he sees, and that's why he flashes on Mata to keep him on the tower.
Stunning.
Tower goes onto him. Looper goes down. I didn't even see if Mata had his passive going with the heal, and that's also why he pulled early aggro from tower, or if the minion wave actually had died already.
Yeah, I think that, no, the next minion was barely out of tower range.
Okay.
That's what actually
Just a great play.
Really good play there. Uber, you say stunning, I say snaring. Obviously with that passive.
I'll give you that one, Crepo.
Getting a lot of fights here, guys. We're 18 minutes in. There's been like, what, 3-4 team fights?
Yeah. Not too many people die, you know.
Yeah, it was funny. We're seeing so many people just limping away. Fnatic actually getting some value back in some of these fights, even if they started with them in compromising positions.
But it shows you the strength of their composition if they actually are all 5 present in a fight with full resources. Because every lost fight has been either Reckless out of mana or Reckless caught out right now before it even starts, or then Gamsu in that one fight arriving a little bit too late or having the wrong prio. But when Fnatic work together, they just have so much damage. It also helps that RNG was between 2 turrets.
Yeah.
At 18 minutes, normally helps quite a bit, but RNG has been getting quite a lot of kills for a composition they weren't really supposed to fight in the early game. So I actually think they can be very happy with some of these fights and how many kills they picked up, like 3 kills for Whoosh himself. Obviously, the Ezreal hasn't gotten a whole lot, but you're still only almost 20 minutes in, and 2 items is completed very soon.
But I need the cross map right now. They need to push mid, rotate bot if they want to do anything, because Gamsu is about to go down. They know this, though. He's just buying time. Let's see how much time can he buy while Fnatic is looking to siege on the mid lane.
Gonna have to be an ultimate coming out of MLXG to at least try and tie Gamsu up. But the question is, what value do Fnatic gain from this? Gamsu will fall, almost a foregone conclusion, but there's Forviven. He's got the purple buff and he's pressing down on towards this inhibitor turret.
He has to kill it. There we go, 2 dragons for them. Got the burn, got the rift held one more time. Fnatic has really put so much value on that buff, and they use it to constantly set up these side lane pushes with big waves, then buffing them, getting to towers. RNG, again showing they want kills, they want to fight. They don't want this boring play for minions. Spirit, though, might be caught out, and Reckless as well.
Out of mana, though.
MLXG doesn't have ultimate available, but Reckless is going to get giant growth. He can still auto-attack, but he's still in enemy territory. Clyde trying to disengage, at least for now, with that frozen... But Xiaohu going to get his true shot barrage across the fight. Now Looper coming back in from the side. There's a lot of disengages here, but Gamsu again caught in. He's just come back and he gets taken down. Xiaohu, Fnatic a little bit disjointed there.
Yeah, this is a repeat of that Rift Herald fight. Guess what? Reckless is out of mana. We see Fnatic getting caught again there.
Dragon now for RNG. Fnatic essentially just have to back away, concede this one as well. Talked about their win condition. They weren't really able to force a third dragon for themselves here, and RNG get one of their own back.
That's really big for RNG, stopping those dragons. Yes, okay, they lost the inhib tower, but then you pick up a few more kills from it. And one more time, it's also Fnatic always trying to help each other. They're kind of jumping into the craziness of these 5-on-5s. Like, oh, our AD carry's caught out. Yes, he's out of mana, he can't really fight, but TP in, you know, run in, try and help him. And then you just end up getting caught out as well, because Poppy movement speed, Gragas body slam, Iceborne Gauntlet, Ezreal. There's a lot of champions here who's very good at chasing you down. So once you overextend, you probably won't get out alive.
And that's the problem when you play against some of these like hyper-aggressive teams that seemingly always want to fight. Sometimes you just buy into it. You just start fighting. You're like, okay, I guess we're just playing Mortal Kombat here every single time, you know, keep the game on, instead of just resorting back to the pushing game or just let Reckless die. Like if he's caught out, he's out of mana, sacrifice him, reset the play. But instead of trying to always save each other on low resources, because Fnatic, with this composition, they will run eventually, will run out of time. So they need to really use their resources, get everybody full health, full mana, use the fact that Gamsu can soak up and buy a lot of time and use that to their advantage.
I mean, late game for Fnatic, in order to win team fights, it's gonna be like Gamsu's Spirit making big plays on the back line of RNG and kicking someone back into the face of Reckless. Or we're gonna see Fnatic trying to just kite, because obviously Whoosh won't be dealing his maximum amount of damage if he's not standing still. You can kind of try and kite away from it. It's just so hard against Gragas, Poppy, Ezreal. So we might have to see Spirit go completely crazy with some kicks in late game fights for Fnatic to win. Otherwise, again, RNG being so even in gold at this point, I think they are actually very happy with it.
Whoosh, less than a whisper on the breeze, more of a Kog'Maw actually really starting to turn on. You can see, of course, he's got the Rage Blade and the Hurricane, 4 kills to his name, and definitely looking scary. Like you said, yes, it's to be standing still, but with his team in front of him looking as tanky as they are, looking more and more likely here. Interesting to see how he goes later.
I wonder if he's going to go for both the Mortius and then the Sterex, because that will make him so hard to kill, because Lulu damage and Gamsu's damage is mostly magical, what's coming at that Kog'Maw, so then he'll trigger the passive and he'll just stay alive in the fight for so long.
Overall, again, RNG happy with the flow of the game. Looking to now play aggressive. No side lanes are pushing for them, so this is finally the time where they can push 5. Spirit.
Tried to knock him out. Don't think they'll get that there. Spirit was actually able to sit behind his turret, but you can see the desire in RNG to isolate that player. It seems like Fnatic actually might want to come forward. They've caught Mana, but Lupa gets in towards the back line. Cly steps back, shield up in front, protecting his AD carry, but Reckless gets knocked up twice in a row, but then he gets the giant growth. Whoosh gets kicked out the back, but how long will he be able to stay out of this fight? He's back in there. We do see Mana drop down, of course, at the cost of Spirit. Whoosh going very, very low. Cly coming forward. He's got to glide down the Glacial Fissure. Whoosh is going to be caught. MLXG blocked the Q from Cly, and now he's going to get caught up. No, Gamsu falling down. He went so deep, and Xiaohu's off towards the side. He now comes in. He's making his presence felt. Whoosh does get the kill there. Fnatic with only 2 left.
Ooh, this fight decided, I think, by both supports overall. Cly sees the play, wants to snipe, but just barely doesn't get the Kog'Maw, and then obviously based in his team. But the key thing I want to point out before the Fisho gets his answer, because he's sitting there really anxiously, is the 3-man pulverize that Mata will do this fight, because it delays Spirit's follow-up on the Q that he lands onto Whoosh.
I really just dislike the way Reckless and the rest of his team is starting this fight. They go into the Alistar, and Reckless actually stays super far forward to hit him, meaning he gets hit by all this CC, and now Spirit dives in. He's been zoned out, and he goes down. Same for the Alistar, where you're trading support for jungler here, and now Fnatic gets a little bit too greedy.
Yeah.
When you play against such a fed AD carry, over-chasing is almost never a good thing, because unless you get straight onto him and one-shot him, he will just stand there and deal so much damage back to you, and you end up going down. So Reckless here needs to accept the fact that he can't deal damage in the opening of the fight, because every single engage from RNG is onto him.
The engage was a little overeager though, but if it was communicated, I think they could have actually gotten him down with a proxy Q from Lulu, but Featherman was on the side chasing Xiaohu in that fight too, so not on the same page in terms of target prioritization. And I think that was the second thing that went wrong for Fnatic, because even though Mata had that beautiful flash pulverizer combo on 4 people, Fnatic still won the initial phase of that fight.
But we're seeing everything here. We're seeing lane swaps and one team controlling side lanes, another team opting into a ton of team fights, and now they're just battling out. Individual mechanics are gonna be super important. Synergy between every single member of the team. Like, we're gonna get almost everything in this game. And then, of course, we have still a team who doesn't want to go full late game and a team who really wants to go full late game, and they're getting there.
It's so bold from RNG to continuously opt into this fight so early in the game.
Well, they've been going even or winning almost
Getting out alive.
every fight.
Will they continue to do that? I think the answer is probably yes right now. RNG shows no signs of really wanting to slow down at all. We can see him pressing forward here every time MLXG comes forward. He balances on a knife edge between aggression and, as I said, passivity when he's on the graze, but this time he's just always coming forward, digging players out of those defensive zones. Now he's going to be clearing as well. Facilitating also Xiaohu off to the side. I mean, he's not a flashy player, but he's been consistent. He's been setting up a lot. He's been doing a lot of damage for RNG in these fights. Here's Fnatic. Want to come forward, but RNG might have a flank.
Definitely seeing Gamsu's TPing in.
Are they going for the Baron Rush to force the fight?
Because the AD carries bot lane right now, but still, the rest of RNG are here. They're very tanky with Alistar, Gragas, Poppy. This is super risky.
Yeah,
for
pincer
Fnatic.
from both sides here. Looper on the top side,
They have to back away.
They're going to get collapsed on if they're not careful. Spirit's already down to half health, and Looper's looking for a target. Reckless, though, at least keeps himself back, but there's a true shot barrage. Spirit down to a third. Kai will fall. Get a little bit too far forward there. MLXG is low, but Gamsu is going to have to walk away, and it's going to be a double kill for Woosh. This Cogmore getting scarier. Fnatic tried to bait that, but instead, RNG take it, swallow it, hook, line, and seeker, and are happy to walk away after.
Fnatic getting way too greedy with their call here when you have still 4 members around the Baron 25 minutes in. Obviously, they can go and stop you, and Fnatic doesn't even have a great Baron team.
No, that was just honestly a very, very big mistake. And I wonder what incited it. Was it the Fnatic feeling panic that they're running out of time? Maybe it's a little bit too late for them with their early game, or like kind of mid-game composition. Yes, Reckless can one-man carry in the late game, but he's kind of in a poor spot in the game right now, opposed to Woosh.
Problem as well for Fnatic is by the time they actually decide to go for Baron, Woosh has already left the bottom lane and he's on his way, so he joins in now fairly quickly after. I think it's one of those situations where as a team you go, oh, AD carries bot lane, and then instead of saying, let's rush Baron, it goes, can we Baron? And you wait for answer that delays it by a few more seconds, and that bought time for Woosh to leave the bot lane, move up towards Baron, and then of course the rest of RNG just go and stop it very, very easily. 3 items now for the AD carry, 8 kills.
That's pretty ferocious.
Yeah, he's involved in 13 out of 15 kills on that Kog'Maw.
Despite him often being off in a side lane as well. You see that he had time to get there. In fact, he actually spent half the fight being knocked up and still came over 2 kills.
Yeah, everybody is super high kill participation, just showing that even with a scaling comp, RNG, their style is to just fight, fight, fight.
It is, but I mean, coming into the game, we were a little bit, I at least was very concerned with the amount of scaling on RNG's side in case they would fall behind in a swap again. But the fact they adapted, mirrored the play, and were even in gold. Yes, they lost the dragon. That's about it. They were even in gold.
It's still
they could fight on even terms.
Yeah, but it still hinges on misplays, though. Fnatic have made some crucial errors fighting, at least on the wrong times, because
RNG's been playing the fights well, though.
yeah, if RNG have been out team fighting Fnatic completely.
And it's definitely a quality we've known to be associated with teams from their region. Will they be heralding a new era? We'll have to wait and see. They still need to get 2 games, of course, from Fnatic, but the gold lead here, there isn't one. It's about 400 between these 2 teams. Very, very close affair. Despite RNG having double the kills of Fnatic, of course, it's been those turrets. Still 2 turret lead to Fnatic. They managed to work those well early on.
And we're just at that point of the game where the amount of plays Fnatic can make are very limited, because they also lost that dragon where they tried to go in and save Spirit or save Reckless without mana. Rushing 5 dragons suddenly gets super delayed. Priority goes down. Baron is here, but you can't properly start it. You're dead even in gold, and you don't want to fight around this Baron pit where you can't really get to the AD carry very easily.
A double threat as well of Xiaohu and Woosh seems to be more than Fnatic can really handle right now. Gamsu and Lupa spending time, of course, towards that bottom side, getting split push on. Lupa has a 50 CS lead here, and he's starting to look very, very comfortable after a rockier start, it's safe to say. He was behind, not so now.
And I'm very happy that we get to see RNG really play their style. Put Lupa in a side lane to just push out waves and farm up, but be ready to always leave that side lane if there is a chance of a fight. Everyone else, constantly. You take one wave and you look, okay, can we go mid? Can we maybe group for a fight around Baron? Constantly looking for it over and over, playing very aggressive in the waves, even with scaling comps, and it's been paying off because they have been punishing Fnatic. And again, that's why we are so even in gold. Reckless needs to get his BT so he can actually survive this big front line when they go in, because once they can't kill him, at least he can stay alive from the engage, and then Fnatic can try and kite around a little bit. Kick away that annoying AD carry who's just standing still and killing everyone.
Pretty clear to see a change in attitude for Fnatic here. After trying to rush that Baron and go for a play, they've now slowed the pace down. They're being a little bit more conservative with their movements. You notice they've gravitated between about here and just a little bit further up the lane, back and forth, just trying to keep eyes on RNG. Now back into base as well. I mean, are they looking for spikes here as well? They're looking for a particular pickup or an item for them to really start turning on. You talked about Bloodthirster. Is that what Fnatic were looking for?
I think they just aren't quite sure of what to do, because the later we go, the more the game turns into the favor of RNG. Like this Kog'Maw is ramping online. 3 items with a Hex Drinker finish right now. The Bork. So RNG's approach will just be to melt through the front line. And then Gamsu is not tanky enough to withstand that for a while Malta just soaks the damage on the Alistar.
I think we need to see just honestly a Baron bait from Fnatic. Like, your main objective now is this river where Spirit is running around. You're setting up the vision first, and then try and force RNG into a fight. Because, as you said, Crepo, the later we go into this game, the harder and harder it becomes for Fnatic to win. You got 3 items on your Lucian. You can play a bit more aggressive with extra lifesteal and the shield. So this is basically the time for Fnatic to set up, but how many pings do they even have at this point? There's 2, one for Reckless, 1 for Cly, and there's 1 here in the bush, or 2 actually in the bushes. So they have pretty good setup, but they can't defend it now because now RNG is taking them away.
Yeah, they can't defend it, and more importantly, they can't seem to be able to push mid and top lane to get the deep vision in between those lanes in the enemy jungler. So they will have to kind of go for a forced Baron, and I think that attempt will be thwarted just the same way like RNG did earlier, walk up and try and kill Fnatic. So Fnatic kind of in an impossible situation right now, hoping honestly for a misstep. Somebody from RNG needs to overextend, and then they need to use Frost Queen's Claim combined with Whimsy to really speed somebody up.
Well, we can also just get a fight in mid.
Fnatic going a little bit too far forward. Reckless, an early flash, but a knock-up. Keep his verdict definitely being laid down. Again, back and forth. Reckless is a pinball in this fight. He's not able to get much damage down at all. The Xiaohu will pick him up. And there's Marta trying to surround out Gamsu's Spirit off to the side. Low health as usual in these first few moments of these fights. Shabivan has to backtrack as well. Now Fnatic, doors are being shut in their face. They're being hit by the doorknob as well. And RNG still with 5. They may even look for that Baron themselves.
And that's the problem. Once you start pushing up mid and you get that flank, it becomes impossible to peel against Poppy charging in, then ulting you, then Alistar flashing onto you, then body slam from Gragas onto you. Like, there's so many ways RNG can get to Reckless and just kill him every time. And his range is too low to really stay alive. He also went for Static Shiv and not Rapid Fire Cannon. So he doesn't have a way really of getting in and deal any damage because he's always going to be too close to the Alistar, Poppy, and Gragas, or Gragas, and then he dies.
Spirit again, he's caught out. He's a little bit too far forward. He was in his own jungle, but that's not his safe zone anymore. Whoosh is going to pick him up. Remember, RNG and the LPL win 100% of games in which they get the first Baron. Not a good omen for this flagging Fnatic side.
I get another fight though. Reckless again in the front line.
Yeah, it looks like Marta's going to come forward. He gets a knock-up. Reckless again, the target of all this CC. He's trying to get back behind Cly's shield, but Cly falls. Reckless isn't far behind him either. And Forbidden is just caught in that icy area. Gamsu got to be chased down, keep his verdict just to keep him airborne. And he's just going to have to drag himself to safety. Looper though interrupts and he's taking a lot of damage. Gamsu won't really be able to get too far away. I think in towards the fountain is enough. He gets the safety. But RNG have got the whole base to themselves and they're going to break it open.
And RNG looking a lot stronger here, matching the early game and then getting these team fights over and over. And they won't even want more. Gamsu's trying to stop this.
I mean, it's pretty reasonable to think they can finish. They've got the Baron as well. Spirit is going to be trying to stop them. Gamsu is also there, but that Nexus is going down. And RNG, they are going to give us the goods. They're bringing a game. Gonna be a game 3. And I don't know about you, gentlemen. Fnatic may not be happy about that, but I sure am.
Yeah, and I'm really happy to see RNG really show up here in game 2, and we could question the scaling, you know, was it too much for this team, but because they were able to at least go even in all these fights in mid-game and technically outplaying Fnatic, catching Reckless in multiple fights with his low range.
This is one of those games where Fnatic kind of snowball and play it near perfect. We will start blaming RNG. Why did you pick
too much scaling?
Clearly, this is too much of a late game composition, but that's the reality of it. Sometimes the game doesn't get played perfectly, and RNG with their, just constant fight-forcing pressure forced Fnatic into some errors, and we got to give it to them. They play some mean, fantastic team fights.
Oh, it is beautiful
Zero
to watch.
hesitation when they pull the trigger.
Beautiful.
Fnatic now, again, continuing to be challenged over the course of this tournament. Game 3 around the corner, and Ekka's a heck of a lot riding on it. Trying to pass over to the experts now and see just where things went wrong or went right.
Monte Cristo, I'm sure this is just one of those games you love to watch. Senseless, brainless
right
fighting.
about the predictions?
Well, yeah,
you are correct,
There's a lot
sir.
of those. There's a lot of those indeed. Look, I want to get straight into replays. Let's pull the first one up onto the screen. It is just a mid-lane engage, just straight onto Fnatic, and this game was just defined by consistent, aggressive, non-stop team fights. Not the correct one that we wanted. We will get the correct one queued up in
Lovely
just
shot
a
of the red
second.
buff.
So I'm like staring at this monitor that's like 20 feet away from me with lights on either side of it. So it's sort of hard for me to see these replays. So I'll do my best to break them down.
I'm lucky because I get to see the giant screen behind you. So
you're right.
when we cut to replays,
Damn you.
we could pull a Doa and just turn around. So
That's
anyways,
true.
this
I need
is
to do
the
that right
replay.
now. Sorry, the card's in front again. Give me a second.
So here is the replay, Monty. You can see
Okay,
that great
there.
barrel that came out from MLXG and knocked everybody backwards. But Gamsu at least gets one back. I think this was a good example of the early game. Non-stop aggression, just fights all over the place.
Well, and I do like the points that that Crepo and Deficio brought up about the pressure that this composition could have brought to bear from Fnatic's side. But I also like that Royal really showed, I think, that they're mechanically better. And a lot of these fights came down to certain mechanical or decision-making errors in these team fights from Fnatic, and Royal. Sure, they dove a little bit too deep in between those tier 2s at 18 minutes. Maybe you shouldn't do that one that early in the game. And they could have prioritized that mid lane tier 1 instead. But they still pretty much just comprehensively outplayed Fnatic. And that proved to be pretty devastating. And that's, if you can outplay people in those team fights with weaker champions in the early game, well, when you have an 8-1-5 Kog'Maw on your base, you might regret it.
Well, it's kind of what we were worried about, right? Is that as the game went on, RNG got stronger and stronger. We'll jump ahead to the next replay, I believe is around 17 minutes or so. It's a mid lane tower dive that was started by RNG.
Oh, this is the one I was talking about.
Yeah, exactly. I heard you mention it, so I thought we'd take a look at it. Started by RNG, but then it was turned around by Fnatic, and it was one of the bright spots in this game. And to be fair, you know, Fnatic kept it competitive for most of the game.
Well, I think what's weird about this is that Royal, they are trying to move out of both sides of the mid lane at the same time, and then they end up just walking right back through underneath the mid lane turret. And Gamsu certainly did a great job of keeping everybody under that tower alongside the crowd control from Lulu. But when you get that pick onto Reckless, perfectly fine dive, but you don't just mill around between the turrets and wait for everybody to come. You don't split up 2 people on one side, 2 people on the other, and then send 2, well, 1 on the other, then send 2 people back up through the mid lane turret. Not good if you want to not get picked off after taking a bunch of those turret shots, after kind of falling low in that skirmish and still having a full HP Lulu and Nautilus to deal with.
You know, I think that said, that showed us just how good Gamsu can be on that Nautilus.
Yeah.
I mean, he really made a lot of great plays. And, you know, in my opinion, he kind of kept Fnatic in that game a little bit longer than maybe they would have been otherwise.
I think that's very fair. And actually, the last replay is just a little bit of a desperation play. And it was some of the mistakes that we saw, I feel, out of yesterday's Fnatic. First of all, they're looking greedy, they're looking hungry. But the thing that really stands out for me is after Fnatic lose a member and they've like peeled away, somebody makes the call to re-engage. I like the fact they're on the same page, but you're gonna see Cly flash and Glacial Fissure forward. If you have to flash Fissure to catch somebody at the max range Fissure, there's no ways the rest of your team can collapse.
Yeah, and these are some of the things we're talking about with Clyde. The flash ultimate, he should know that Kog'Maw has Hex Drinker, and he should also know that Kog'Maw still has Summoner Heal. So there is basically a 0% chance of that play actually working out. It's greedy, and it does bait the rest of his team into further kills when it had been kind of a wash. I do want to point out that this low damage composition from Fnatic, Royal was consistently, we didn't take a look at some of the other team fights, but the way they were able to identify Lucian as the primary threat and immediately isolate him and kill him in almost every fight was very important to how this game played out. And I agree with the analysts on the cast too. Taking that static Shiv is the wrong move when you need the range from the rapid fire cannon to really play around the Whimsy and the shields that Lulu has. If you're the main force, you have to make sure that you can deal that damage from range and stay safe, because he certainly was not safe in this game whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, Reckless was just targeted over and over again. That's kind of what you needed to do. He was really the only big damage on the side of Fnatic. And going back to Cly a little bit more, I mean, I'm the bloodthirsty support man. I love that kind of play. But at the end of the day, there are times where you need to not flash, not all. You need to save that stuff to keep your 80 carry alive. And then right when they're about to kill someone, that's when you step in and do the final blow and get the kill. So you got to play the long game sometimes.
Do not listen to Doe. This is
got to play the
advice.
long game.
Well, thank you for that.
I'm on the analyst desk. I'm officially an expert now.
It's
You have
true.
to,
It is
you have to
true.
accept this.
You know what? That's fair. I cannot take that away from you. Monty currently 2 for 2 in predictions. We'll see if you can make it 3 for 3. That wraps it for game 2. We're going to head to Chabra on stage while the teams are getting ready for the third match.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I am back and with some news for you guys. Of course, just a quick reminder, join the conversation about this whole day. We're not even close to being done yet. Not done with the semifinals, and of course, the grand finals do await us. So hashtag IEM, tell us what you think. Tell us who you think is gonna win. Show us how you're watching the entire tournament today, whether it's at home, at school, wherever, maybe in a theater. We want to find out. And of course, on top of that, if you want more stats, if you've missed the game, you want to see what's going on, you want to see some interviews, check out theScore eSports. You can download the app on the App Store or Google Play. Put it on your phone, and now you'll never be disconnected from all the League of Legends eSports happening right here in Katowice. And last but not least, of course, I always come with cool questions. The next question is, we've been seeing a lot of team fights going on in this Game 3. Which team, as a team, will have a better KDA? Will it be World Never Give Up? Will it be Fnatic? Let us know, and we'll find out right after the break.
If your PC is dated,